We're back with the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC and also on your FM dial 93.3. All right, we've got one more film to review, but before we get to that, I want to thank our sponsors once again, Poplar, Bluff Drywall, 33 Productions, and also Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers. Our final film is How to Train Your Dragon 2. And,
easy for you to say.
Yes, it was very easy. Thank you. Why do you always... You always do this to me, man. Sabrina, because you're making fun of me, you get to go first.
Okay. Well, I liked this movie, and probably the number one reason I liked this movie is because I loved the first movie. Mm-hmm. And gratefully, they didn't ruin a good thing by making a second one. And that often happens.
Like The Hangover and Hangover 2
right.
and 3.
Right.
And whatever sequels they're coming out with.
Right.
Yeah. But so in this industry, especially animation, it's hard to mess up a good thing because kids will watch anything if it's animated, but adults won't necessarily. And so we are the ones who are influencing everybody's opinion, I'm going to say. I was very pleased with this second edition of How to Train a Dragon. The thing I was most impressed with is how they aged the content and the story and the maturity of the characters in this story to the age and the maturity and the growth of the audience. Because the kids that watched the first one have aged and grown up a little bit.
Yeah, 4 years later.
And we have had and that can be a huge thing when you're talking about kids. Mm-hmm. 9 and then 13, 14, that's huge. But this story went with them. It's like the same audience that watched the first one can easily go and watch the second one and not be embarrassed, in my opinion. So what I'm saying is I
don't know why anyone would be embarrassed going to a movie to see anything involving dragons. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
to me. True. They're dragons.
The most perfect addition of that type of growth.
What about Pete the Dragon? Pete's Dragon.
No.
That was pretty embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
You got me with legal mumbo jumbo.
The Harry Potter series was one of those iconic movies and stories that grew with their audience. The darkness and the maturity of the content increased with every year that they made a new one. And they were able to do that with How to Train a Dragon. We went from a young warrior main character to wow, you just totally changed everything and you're 20-something years old now. And that's cool because all of a sudden, he likes things and people that he might not have liked in the first one 4 years ago because his maturity has changed.
Right, and that's a big theme with the movie is change.
Yes.
Instead of trying to fight the main bad guy, Drago, who's played by, I'm going to mess up his name, but Desmond Hansu, I believe.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of great films.
Yeah, exactly. Blood Diamond and Gladiator. Instead of trying to fight him, he wants to change him.
Yes.
As he changed his father, he believes it can be done. And you kind of get to go, along for that ride of him meaning well, and what can he do to change the hearts of other people, which is a good message, I think, for kids. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to like about this film. I don't think it's in the same league as the first one. I think the first one was just near flawless and a really great story and concept. This one was very well done too. There were some things that I found disappointing, that some twists that I don't want to talk about at length, but one of the things I did not like was that all the dragons were controlled by the alpha. I thought that was kind of a cop-out, for plot-wise, but it's okay.
Like mentally telepathic
exactly, yeah,
control.
To have this telepathic control over all the dragons. I thought that was kind of...
But wasn't it the same as in the first one? Because in the first one, they were all controlled by the
by
large
the alpha
one,
that was there.
So
yeah.
was that like a continuing problem that you've had with?
Yeah, it wasn't something I really cared for. The first one you could kind of get away with that. It's intimidation with the huge dragon, and that's why with this one it was straight up hypnosis.
Yes, okay.
And I didn't really care for that side of it. I had no problem with mysticism being in the story, but I thought that was kind of an element that was like, that's just convenient for the plot, in my opinion. And it set up one of the other parts of the plot that I didn't like. That is a plot twist. I don't want to give anything away, but it deals with some of the characters that we know in the first film.
Well, and I know what you're talking about, and so to accent on that without giving anything away, I think that this is the first time I've seen one of the non-Disney type movies actually go Disney. And then the reason I say that is because they go for the heartstrings on an element that a lot of these movies really aren't able to develop to the degree that Disney movies do.
I'd agree with that.
So in the writing and the character development, this one was out of the park. as far as being able to keep up with its biggest competitor, Disney.
Right.
And so that's huge. That's a huge accomplishment for this company.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not that these aren't good elements; they're just not what I liked. Personally. Again, it's a really good film. Visually, it's amazing. There's a great cast. Of course, Jay Baruchel reprises his role as Hiccup. Now we have Cate Blanchett as his mother. You have Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, who's one of my favorites in the movie, and America Ferrera, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, known as McLovin, T.J. Miller, Kristen Wiig, and of course, Benjamin Vincent. Again, I'm butchering his name, so if he hears this, I apologize.
What I gotta say about that, though, is you can watch this movie and never pay attention to the fact that those are the people behind the voices.
That's a good point.
They don't take away from it.
Very
it's not
well done as far as marrying the voice to the character. You just accept it. You don't think, oh, that's so-and-so.
When I was a big fan of the first How to Train Your Dragon. It's one of my all-time favorites as far as 3D. I hate 3D films, but we saw it over in Cape, and we saw it in 3D, and it was just visually beautiful in 3D.
We were soaring.
It was amazing.
It feels like you're flying with the dragons. Yeah,
it was truly amazing, and loved the film, and we have it at our house on Blu-ray. And going into this one, the first 10 minutes of it, I was like, oh man, they butchered this film. They ruined it. I just wasn't into it, and they were kind of doing the same kind of thing with Hiccup and his father. They're battling and arguing about the same stuff they were arguing about in the first one, and it was just like, oh, are we doing these same type of themes again? We've already done this in the first one. Then Hiccup and Toothless get together, and they have their scene, and I think those two characters are two of the best characters with animation as far as chemistry goes. You see those characters, and that they love each other. There's a bond there, and that is so hard to do with animation. With human acting, you can kind of get that bond going and stuff like that. But with animation, it's difficult to do because it's animation,
especially with a made up fictional character like a dragon.
Right.
With the dog, you can mimic dogs' actions. Right. And that's what they did with other animals, like in Lion King. They brought in lions to the studio and kind of observed them and how they move and how they do this and that. You can't do that with a dragon, sadly. So they had to start from scratch and really work from the foundation up.
Yeah, I love the chemistry with those two characters. I love the plot twist that you weren't a big fan of, and after the first 10 minutes, I got into this film. It's still a visually beautiful animated movie, and I really think it's going to win best animated film this year because
Lego Movie's still better. That's my pick for it, but this one was really good too. The unfortunate thing, Lego Movie.
Oh.
How to Train Your Dragon, it kind of got bogged down the first year. It should have won, in all honesty, but Toy Story 3 was out.
And Toy Story 3,
it's one of the best films. It's really hard to beat. So I would have no problem with it winning this year, which I had no problem with it possibly winning in 2010 either. But I'd still, for originality, I'd give it to Lego Movie because this is a sequel. And it's good, but I didn't enjoy the plot as much as I enjoyed Lego Movie. But it's still a fantastic film, and I can't recommend it enough.
I wish we had seen it in 3D.
Oh.
You know me. I love that. And you even said the first one was amazing.
I agree, but you know what?
Seriously,
I'm tired
it's
of giving
worth
my
the
money
extra
to
experience
Hollywood.
once.
Yeah, not to dog 3D, but the three of us aren't really big fans of 3D.
No, she loves it.
Oh, you do?
I love
okay, well, I'm not putting words in your mouth then.
3D. I don't own a 3D TV. I like
Most people
saving
don't.
that for the theater.
Sure, it's definitely an extra incentive to go. For a lot of folks.
I love the way you talk. It's like, I'm bumming it at the theater. Yeah, I'm bumming it at home. I don't have a 3D TV at home, so I just go to the movies for that.
So what's wrong with that?
Oh, you kill me. Guys and gals, thank you so much for being a part of the Screen Team this week. Matt, we appreciate you and look to have you on real soon. Sabrina, I know I haven't told you this, but you're going to be on the Screen Team in a couple weeks.
I am?
Yeah, with Miss Stacy.
Oh,
okay.
Stacey Anderson and I and you will be doing the Screen Team, and we're going to be doing new in theaters Tammy, the movie with...
that's why she told me we were going to go see it.
Yeah, what's her name? Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
Her DVD pick of the week will be Machete Kills.
Yeah.
Machete.
Machete Kills.
And the personal pick is a film that stars a local guy in Cape Girardeau, Scully Shemwell from Drive and Rain. You know him, Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a couple of low-budget independent films, And we'll be doing one of those and talking with Scully here on the Screen Team.
Wow.
Awesome show.
So that comes your way in 2 weeks, July the 18th?
I will be listening.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks, 2 Saturdays from now. Not
19th,
next Saturday.
19th.
July 19th. All right, so mark it on your calendars. For Matt, Sabrina, and Chris, we are the Screen Team on today's Talk 930 KWOC.